Basketball's over.
That's it. The end. We got Kleenexes somewhere for you, I'm sure.
Hey,
I'm just kidding.
you don't need the tissues.
No, I did not need the tissues on Saturday night. That's
Okay.
for sure.
All right. Yeah. You had an amazing performance from that Roosevelt game.
Oh,
but-
my
Oh, my
God.
gosh. A crazy week of state. Welcome to the Cover Cal High podcast. I'm your host, Jake Vanderbrook, alongside Tyler Flipson, Adrian Soriano. So we had 8 Bay Area teams competing for state titles.
Yep.
4 of them won state titles. First of all, congratulations to all the NorCal teams that competed in state. Quite the accomplishment there.
Yes.
But out of those 8 teams, we had 4 of them. So, starting with the girls, we had Carondelet winning the D1 title for the first time since 2004. A crazy game that they had against Sage Hill, and that was a gritty finish for those Carondelet Cougars to capture the D1 title for them. Woodside Priory.
Shout out to Woodside Priory. man.
Woodside Priory out of Portola Valley winning the D4 title.
No, is it
D4, right.
Oh, I
Jesuit
put
won
it in the
D2.
rundown. Okay. I put it wrong in the rundown there. My
No,
bad.
you're good.
My bad.
And then we had Marin Catholic
Yep.
winning D3. Congratulations to them. Just an outstanding win for that program and to capture history and international.
INT.
International has to be the storyline of, of the
absolutely.
season. It's got to be.
It has to be.
Division 5, and you know what was so cool about this experience? They brought the whole school.
That's insane.
Hey, listen to the podcast. They must have heard you, Jake.
Grades 6 through 12. They said
6
no
through
school
12.
on Friday. No school on Friday. We're all going to SAC. So
I love that.
That's great.
I
With a small
love
school
that.
like that, you got to, you know?
absolutely.
Go support.
Yeah.
Hey, I guess I got it right then. I said 4 out of 8.
Yep.
There you
So
go.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. The other 4 teams, one NorCal's competed in state. TKA lost a hard-fought victory. I mean, it looked like at this point that with 3 minutes left to go, it looked like San Gabriel Academy was able to roll past TKA. But TKA managed to come back and made this one heck of a game.
It was wild. It was wild to see it. You know, they came back and being, it's one of our Bay Area teams rooting for them, want to see it happen. And they fall
Right.
short. But I mean, what a battle. What just a wild storyline of a game for sure.
Yeah, no question about it. Half Moon Bay girls, they put up a really hard-fought battle against Sheldon in that girls Division 5 contest Saturday morning.
or is it Whitney?
Oh, Whitney,
Whitney,
excuse me.
Whitney,
It was
I know.
Whitney.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Whitney, Sheldon, my bad. No, it was
That's
Whitney.
all right. It's a Monday
It was
morning,
Whitney,
man.
and that was a hard-fought battle for them.
Yes, it
And it
was.
looked like that was Whitney's game to take over. But Half Moon Bay, they just were able to stay in it, and they kept fighting and fighting. But at the end, they just fell short a little bit.
Hey, again, no shame. Like
No
I said,
shame.
No shame in losing at this point in the season, man. Like thousands of schools started this journey to Sacramento, and 14 or 24 teams
Yep.
played on Friday and Saturday. Yeah, there is no shame
Yep.
to get this far.
And how cool is it of the Golden One Center to host that,
Yeah.
It's really something special, give the opportunity to these athletes, high school athletes, to be in a professional basketball arena, and
Right.
play in an arena like that. For the fans too. Right there in Doco as well for,
Yeah.
extracurricular activities, celebrating your wins, going to a good bite to eat, something,
Yeah.
It's a perfect place. It's really cool that the Kings and that arena do that. for
Yeah,
those
no,
athletes.
it's special. It really is. I mean, Golden One Center, there's nothing like it.
No,
In my
absolutely
opinion.
not.
And that downtown area where you have the good places to eat, like Sauce.
Oh, that was good on
Yard
Saturday, man.
House.
I want to say you're biased being a Kings fan, but
No.
being that I have been there and I'm
Yeah,
unaffiliated.
it's a nice area.
Yes, it's a really cool area and a cool arena.
It's a nice area. And you mentioned about the teams and the players getting this experience to compete in state. I mean, we talk about how hard it is and how difficult it is
Exactly.
to make it to this run.
Yeah.
And Midi girls, this is the 4th consecutive year that they're back in state.
Right.
You know how tough that is?
It's really tough.
Right.
It's really, really tough to do it. And to play Etowanda, I mean, again, also shout out to Etowanda. 3 consecutive times they've made it to state,
Yeah.
right? And you know what? I want to pat my little bit. I actually got this one a little bit right. I said Midi was going to be competitive, and
Yep.
they were. And then
Yeah.
Edwanda said,
They
"All
were
right,
only down by 6 at half.
exactly."
Right.
You know what?
It was a good game.
Yeah.
It was a
Hats
good
off to
game.
Mitty, man.
Yeah.
Hard fought.
Yeah, and they were without McKenna, and they had to rely on some young players to step up. Sinai Patterson, 17
Exactly.
points.
Positive, yeah.
Abigail James off the bench chipped away with 10, 11 points. So it's like, no shame to be in that position. I mean, Edawanda is a phenomenal program. They do a great job over there. I mean, they got 4-star, 5-star players. Grace Knox, for example, going to LSU.
Yeah.
So there's no shame at all.
no.
No shame at all.
And you talk about, you mentioned the 4 consecutive visits to state, right?
yeah,
That comes down to coaching.
Right.
And we know Sue Phillips is as legendary as she is,
Yep.
and the proof is in the pudding. That's
Right.
what it comes down to. That midi pudding is the real deal, and they show up and they make it happen every single year, year in and year out. So it's really hats off to her. In case there already isn't a high level of respect for Coach Phillips,
Yep.
that really goes to
You know,
say it.
she had a plan, man. She had a plan, and first half, I'm like, maybe Mitty maybe Mitty can win, and then second half happens, and Edawanda just said,
Yeah.
Edawanda's gonna be Edawanda,
Yep.
right? Finley, I forgot her first
21
name.
points.
21 points, and then Grace Knox, right?
I think the thing to take out of that is think about just SoCal sports in general. Sometimes it's just so insane, a different breed. Whether it's football, basketball, baseball, whatever it is, these SoCal teams are always so exceptional. I feel
Especially
like.
basketball.
It's
Especially
wild.
basketball. I mean, you look at some of the NBA players right now, like James Harden, Klay Thompson, Russell Westbrook. I mean, all these guys came from SoCal.
Aaron Gordon.
Aaron, no,
Oh,
Aaron,
no,
Aaron
NorCal.
Gordon's NorCal.
Aaron
Oh,
Gordon, but he
Aaron
represented in NorCal,
Yeah,
though.
but again,
Juju Watkins.
Juju Watkins, right? Girls
The list can
basketball.
go on and on is the point, right?
Exactly,
It's really cool to see. I know we don't get the chance to, cover these schools until it's state, right? Because they're out of area for these SoCal schools. But it's cool to see them, and
Yeah.
the product that they put out on the court or the field or whatever it is.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And then Reardon, that was the other team that competed in that open for the boys division. They put up a hard-fought battle against Roosevelt, but in the end, I mean, when you got a 5-star
my
recruit
goodness.
that's going off named Braden Berries,
Dude.
yeah,
I mean, this kid is special. And I remember at halftime, you went up to me and you were like, man, this kid is something else. And I'm like, dude, watch this kid drop 45. And I think he missed the free throw in the second half, and he would have dropped he had 44 points and 12 rebounds and 3 blocks and 2 steals. I'm like, my God, I mean, how can
the
you
shots
stop
were
this guy?
falling.
I mean, he got fouled shooting a 3, falls down, and he drills it. I'm like, only in SoCal do you see that.
Yeah.
Only in Southern
And
California.
like we said, it's just a different breed. But congratulations to Reardon on an
Absolutely,
outstanding
man.
season, winning NorCal, getting that off their backs, getting revenge compared to last year.
Yeah.
That was needed for them to win NorCal and to go back to state for the first time since 2002. That was great for that program.
And how about Reardon? We've said it on what feels like almost every episode of this podcast mentioning Reardon. Is this arguably one of the best men's teams
From NorCal?
that Reardon has had in school history?
Well,
is what I'm
yeah, I
getting
mean,
at.
considering
yeah,
they made it to
no
state-
question about
yeah,
it.
Yeah.
absolutely.
No
Considering-
question about it.
Considering they were in the open division and they made it to state, I mean, they haven't done this in over 20 years, right? So it's historic just on that alone. But I've said it. They have 10 or 12 NBA 2K creative players.
Yep.
And unfortunately, they just ran into a team that looked like Michael Jordan. So, or a player that looked like Michael Jordan out there.
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah, there's no shame losing to Roosevelt, who has been the best team in SoCal and probably one of the best team in California all season.
Okay. All right. So let's now make our way forward to the views from the lens, the best moments from state weekend. Adrian?
I gotta say, Braden Berries. I mean, wow, 44 points, 12 rebounds, and listen, Reardon did absolutely everything to stop this kid, and they just, this guy's uncommitted, and he's going to play in the All-American game. That's saying something.
Yeah, I
Right.
think he's going to announce his commitment.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, but You know what? I'll add into this one too. During the Jesuit game, there's this big guy, big muscular guy that just sat next to me and Jake, and we were looking like, who's this guy? And then during the second half, Jake was like, "Hey man, I think that's Jake Crowder." So I looked up,
Yeah.
I looked up Jake Crowder real quick. I'm like, "Oh, it is Jake Crowder because he plays for the Kings."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Wow, that's pretty cool." But
Did you say hi?
I got shy.
Oh,
I got
man.
really shy. I know. You know, 3 years ago, I would have said, "Hey man, big fan of you. You know, can I get a picture?" But you know,
3 years ago,
Ca-
what changed?
I don't know. I
Great
I got
college
older.
basketball career, if
Yeah.
you ask me.
Yeah,
Great
Gilbert
call.
Arenas was there too.
Yep.
So, wow.
Barry's at 44 points, so it's insane. Like that's wild. Did you say when you're doing the voiceover on this, you say Barry's the 3? Like did
I think
that
I
come
did.
out?
I think
He
I did it
did
one time.
once,
Yeah,
I
did it one
believe.
time.
That's easy pickings. You better.
Well,
have
yeah,
taken that one.
absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
man,
44 points is
he
exceptional.
had 27 in the first half.
Yeah, that's
I
insane.
was just, I mean, you stopped this kid. He looked like Michael Jordan.
Unreal. So,
So-
I had a quiet week. Well, I didn't take the trip to Sacramento, but I kept up with you guys and everything that was going on. And we know my love for International.
Yep.
They
Good
are
for them,
I got
man.
we covered them once in the regular season, and then we
Yep.
got to do this game for them on YouTube. And they're such a fun team. I fell in love with them from the start. So for them, my view to Len is for them to get that win as a whole. Connor McGuire, 32 points. Jake mentions on top of that is that not a singular 3-point for him. Those are all free throws and field
Driving right to the cup.
inside, yeah,
Exactly.
right to
and
the cup.
That's gonna get you to the line a lot,
Yeah.
right?
It was exceptional. I truthfully was rooting for him from the start, for them to go in and go do that. First time in school history for everyone to turn out from the school, it seems like Jake mentioned.
Yeah.
I am so stoked for International
That
and
was
Connor
fun.
McGuire and Seville Welch, I think is how you say his last name.
Oh,
Seville
one-
Welch.
both of them,
brothers.
right?
The
The
brothers.
brothers.
Rain Seville Welch and Will Seville
Will.
Welch.
I
And
think
he-
who had a big defensive game for them?
I believe it was Will.
Will, I think. Yeah.
God, he was getting block after
Yeah,
block.
he had
And-
7
Wow.
blocks.
And that's what
he
I-
had 7
That,
blocks.
that's gotta be a state record for Division 5 at least.
It's up there.
And a
It's
bunch of rebounds,
definitely
too. I
up.
think he got a ton of boards.
He had a
also.
double-double.
Yeah.
No
Oh, my
question
word.
about it.
Yeah.
I think it was 12 points, 17 rebounds, and 7 blocks. Are
This guy
you
almost had a
kidding me?
triple-double? Oh
Yeah.
my god.
That's what I saw from him in that game I covered in the regular season. Or sorry, no, I think that was into
Playoffs.
Playoffs, excuse me. Yeah. So, yeah,
Will the Thrill, ladies and
Oh, there
gentlemen.
it is. There
Will
it is.
the Thrill.
that's cute. That's cute.
Hey.
I like it.
Thank you.
But no, exceptional. I am thrilled, as you would say.
Yeah,
for,
no, and that,
International.
it was just a great environment, and to see all of them come out and support, that's very special for a small school. I mean, me coming from a small school, and I remember our basketball team, like I was a freshman in high school, and we did the same thing as well. We came out and we supported our guys, and
Yeah.
at that time, I mean, they lost in that moment out in New York, but it kind of reminded me of that, just to see International come out, support the guys, and man, oh man, what a run for International.
Story
After
of the year.
losing a section title, they go on this crazy run. They got revenge against Alhambra in like the second or third round, win NorCal's, and then at the big moment at Golden One Center, they were able to come away with a dominant victory. I mean, keep in mind, this team was down, I believe, by 6 at the
Yeah,
half.
there
Yeah.
were times to
Right.
Yeah.
And they just poured it on. I mean, yes, Diamond Ranch, they faced a bit of foul trouble, but man, they just pulled away, and the ball movement was superb, working inside, outside. The shots were falling.
and that's what that's
Just
what it is.
Very impressive.
And if you go and look too at International's history of games, just their schedule on Max Preps, and you go look at the margin of victory that they had, on top of by how many points, the amount of overtime wins that they had, and on top of like 2-3 point wins, narrow margins.
Yeah.
Everyone seemed like a nail biter. They're just a fun team. I really wish we got the chance to cover them more than we did this past basketball season.
Yeah.
But I'm glad we gave them the recognition and coverage that they did get up to this point, because that's such a cool storyline.
And we talked about, it was a battle going into the halftime, and that was the Fresno Christian Woodside Priory game.
Yep.
That was a battle at halftime.
And then
And then
Boom.
talk about second half adjustments. They were able to dominate the paint to start the second half. And when you start making adjustments, try the guard inside, it set up a bunch of shots from the outside. And Priory was just hitting shot after shot
that's
after
momentum right there.
shot.
Yeah, it's
Just
the momentum.
an amazing turnaround for Woodside Priory to capture the D4 title. So we got to give a shout out to them with what was working with when we talk about second half adjustments, right?
Absolutely.
And you know what? It's just, like I said in the last episode, right? Hey, go out there, have fun, let
Right.
loose, right? There's no point.
No
of being-
shame.
There's no shame. It doesn't
shame.
matter if you win or lose. You're like, your season's gonna end here, right?
Right.
Just knowing that, hey, just let loose. And guess what? International did that. TKA did that. Midi girls basketball did that too. They were just like, hey, let's go out there, let's have fun, and whatever happens, happens. Just go out there, stay loose, and that's what happens. And having momentum in the second half also helps a lot.
Absolutely. All right, but my views from the lens,
I have a feeling I know what this is.
LeBron James
Oh, my word.
making his appearance. And, it was funny because I was trying to figure out where he was going to enter the court, right? So I'm thinking to myself, is he going to go out to the side where, like, the Lincoln student section was, or is he going to go out the way that is, like, on his way to his seat? I mean, obviously, LeBron James and his family had courtside seats, right? So I'm thinking to myself, okay, it's either this or that. So I'm just paying attention, following security. It's like I'm trying to see where their eyes are pointing to, and once they did this,
Go time.
that exactly I knew. And then I saw his wife, him walking out, and then I saw LeBron, and I had like the perfect close-up shot, and that had a lot of views on our Instagram.
I think it was like 200,000 on Saturday. I mean,
Something
it was
like that.
not even on our Instagram for 24 hours, and it already had 200,000 views.
We
I'm
weren't
like,
even supposed to be covering this
we
game.
had nothing.
and
We
we were like,
absolutely
oh,
had
here's
nothing to do
LeBron.
with that game. We had nothing to do with that game. Just because it's the second GOAT, LeBron James.
Yep.
I know people are gonna hate me for that because they're LeBron James fans,
Right.
but he is the second GOAT. Just saying. But yeah, just and didn't you mention your phone was like at 2%?
Yeah, my
got it.
phone was at 2% when I took that video. And I was like, oh boy.
Got
It's
it
like,
done.
yeah, I did manage. I mean, luckily it was only like a 10-second clip.
That's all you
was
need.
enough.
That's all we needed.
That's all you needed.
That's all we needed. But it was really nice to see LeBron and obviously to see his son play.
Yeah.
For his big moment, Bryce James for competing for a state title. Yes, he only had 3 points, and he had other guys that stepped up. But to see Bryce and Sierra Canyon win a state title for his sake, I think that was
Yeah.
pretty spectacular. So that would be my views from the lens.
Love it. I think that's
Yeah.
a great choice.
That's
Okay.
not mentioned.
The
Or
king is kind of a big deal.
the King, GOAT number 2, and how about Elijah Arenas, real quick?
Yeah.
Wow, my God, this kid is special too.
Yeah. Man, that kid is smooth.
Oh my! I mean, he was getting double team, triple team, 4-team. I mean, my God.
But you got to give a lot of credit to Jesuit for drawing
Absolutely.
up an excellent game plan.
They had a lot
for
of fans
Elijah.
as well, right? They can only contain Elijah for so long.
They play, yeah,
So,
no,
Yeah, shout out to Jesuit too, man. For
Yeah,
winning,
absolutely.
State basketball.
Yep, winning the Division II state title, and Arenas went off with, I believe, 22. 22, 23 points. Great game for him.
Yeah.
And let's make our way over to the final basketball polls.
Finally,
I already have some disagreements with this just looking at
All
this
right,
age,
all
but
right.
go through it.
Well, all right. So Reardon 1, De La Salle 2. I slept on this after state, obviously. I decided to put Salesian back at 3.
How many hours did you sleep on this decision?
A lot. I will
lot.
say, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, plenty. But Salesian beat SRV twice.
Twice.
And, SRV did not make the state final game.
Right.
And I know on the show I had SRV out at 3, but making a last minute change, we're putting Salesian 3, San Ramon Valley 4, Oakland Tech 5, SI 6, the Kings Academy number 7, Clayton Valley, Moreau Catholic, and Doherty Valley at 10. There you go. That's your boys poll. Final boys basketball poll of the season.
Do you after watching the Kings Academy on Friday, do you think they could have been an open division team in the CCS? I think
did-
so.
I
To
believe
me,
so,
I
too.
think so.
I
They
mean-
could have been a sneaky 7 or 8 seed.
I was gonna say I think they'd be a low seed.
Right,
They'd
absolutely.
sneak in as
No.
a low seed, but I don't think they would want to be. I bet you they were very happy with where they got in. I don't
know.
think they want to
I
go into the
know, I
bus
know,
off
I
the
know.
open.
Well, I mean, when we were talking about like who might be in the open, I did say I believe I said the Kings Academy is in the mix, right? Milpitas, Christopher, all
Right.
those teams, right? So yeah, absolutely. I think the Kings Academy would have been in the open division if things broke their way.
Sure.
Right. So, but again, making it all the way to what D3 state, and should have won.
Right.
They kind of got screwed in the end there, but.
So I got a question for you. So Doherty Valley, you put Doherty Valley at 10, Clayton Valley at 8. Didn't Doherty Valley beat Clayton Valley in the NCS D1 semifinal?
They did. But Doherty now they did lose in overtime 2 in a row, but a loss is a loss, right? And Clayton Valley made it all the way, I believe, to the semifinal game in D2, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. Yeah, I
So-
believe it was against Destiny Christian, right?
Yes, so they did make it to the semifinal. So just that alone, I think Clayton Valley is ahead of Doherty. Now I could have also put in Woodside Priory at 10, right? Just for winning state, but I think the division is too low, being in D4. So
Let me ask you this, because we have more polls to go, and
Yeah.
I've seen the comments on our Instagram before, and I'd rather have just a direct answer.
Yes.
How do you construct your polls? What is it based upon? How do you make your decisions of who goes where? Is it strength of schedule? Is it this? Is that
Yes.
wins, losses? Just give me a direct answer of how you make that decision.
strength of schedule, obviously head to head, right? Head to head, but head to head can't be the deal breaker in itself, right? I mean, we'll get into that with baseball. Head to head, strength of schedule. How far are you going come playoff time? Are you still going, right? Are you going to the state final game? Did you win the state championship, section title, league title? All those things I really consider, right? But obviously head to head is the number one tiebreaker, but it can't be the end of the world.
But Doherty Valley won a section title.
Yes, they did. But Clayton Valley did go further in Division 2, right? And again,
But Doherty Valley was Division 1 NorCal.
Yes, and I think Clayton Valley going further in NorCal's really cemented them over more Doherty Valley. Now it wasn't like Doherty Valley blew out Clayton Valley. It was a close game too, right? So yeah, I feel
Could you make you see where I'm coming
yes,
from, right?
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it was just good to have a direct, explanation of how you build these polls, because I see that question every single time, no matter what sport it is. Based on what. So I think it's
Yes.
good that we have a direct answer.
Yeah, and again, I welcome all criticism, right? Obviously, these polls ain't perfect, and not everyone's gonna agree to it, obviously.
Did you think of International making the poll?
No.
Okay.
No. I would put Priory over International in the poll. Just saying. But again, Priory also had a good season, and they won section, and they're higher division too. So
Who would be some of the bubble teams?
Priory.
You would put
I
Priory.
would put Priory as a bubble team. But again, Doherty being in D1 and Priory being in D4,
4.
and both of them won section titles, I believe. And again, like I said,
Right,
Doherty won
yeah.
D1 in the
Yeah.
NCS, which is
Yeah.
a hell of a lot tougher than CCS. What D3 or D5, whatever Priory was in section playoffs. So
Okay.
yeah, that's the final poll for basketball, boys
All right,
basketball.
Make your way to the girls.
All right, girls basketball. Midi 1, SRV 2, Carondelet 3, Auklan is 4, Pinewood 5, Cardinal Newman 6, Piedmont 7, Bishop O'Dowd 8, Woodside Priory 9, and Oakland Tech at number 10.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I'm
Carondelet.
happy with that girls list.
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
So Carondelet.
Carondelet
moved to
won
3
on that
because
run.
they won the state division
Yeah,
1
they,
title.
they
right?
won on a good run. I think you can make a great argument between either Acalanes being 3 or Carondelet being 3.
Yes.
Based off what happened last Friday with Carondelet winning a state title.
Yes, that's the only reason
I
why they're
think-
3.
Right.
Or else
Yeah.
they would have been. They would stay at 4.
Yeah.
tough one. It's a really
Yeah,
tough
that's very tough. I think you can go back and forth, but I mean, personally for me, I would still have Carondelet at 4, Acalanes 3, because you got to keep in mind, Acalanes was in the Open. They had a wonderful season, and then they only just lost the Open Division title game to SRV, who is a really good team. So you can't really be penalized for that. And then facing McClatchy in Open, I mean, that's also
no
a very
shame again.
tough
There's no
team.
shame, but
Right.
again, Carondelet in my eyes, I think Carondelet had to win the state title to jump Acalanes, and they did. They
Okay.
did. So that's why they're number 3. Acalanes number 4. Then Pinewood 5.
Okay. All righty. All right. Well, basketball's over.
Yeah, and close the book.
Yep. Close the
Moving on.
book.
Bring in spring.
I
Yes.
cannot wait. Well,
Sunshine and sunflower seeds
Yep.
on the diamond.
I can't wait.
And Big League Chew.
Yeah, that's all you
How
do.
about juicy
Okay.
fruit?
Nothing about
Juicy
it.
fruit. I like juicy fruit.
Juicy fruit or
Yeah.
5 gum. I know.
Juicy fruit.
I think we got to bring back just really quick thinking about last season when we asked the teams for social media, we'd ask them what is the best sunflower seed flavor.
A lot of people said cracked pepper.
No.
Oh, cracked pepper's
No,
good.
no,
Cracked
no,
pepper
no,
was
no,
up
no.
there, though.
It was up there.
Was
but
it
I
chili
would-
cheese?
I think the number one answer was Taco Bell. I got that so often when I was asking.
Oh, that's
individual
right.
players.
Taco Bell.
Really? I've
Yeah,
never had Taco
that's
Bell
right.
seeds.
So we gotta bring that back. I would love to be able to do that. That was fun.
Maybe,
That's a
maybe
very
we should
small
do like
point.
a taste test on the podcast.
Oh, that'd be kind of fun.
Taste
should-
test for,
yeah.
for
Good
we'll have different seeds.
Yeah.
That's a good
Right.
idea. We'll look into it. But baseball and softball.
I love
season,
that idea.
a great idea.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Taste test.
Yeah, Asian doesn't have many good ideas all the time.
Hey, you
but
know
that-
what?
that's
This is
a good one.
rare.
Yeah. No, this is rare.
I'll give you some nuts.
Everyone
Good idea.
looking. This is rare, ladies and
Yeah.
gentlemen.
Awesome.
But okay, so obviously we're making our way over the baseball season. And yes, baseball, softball season, it started for like the past 2-3 weeks
Yep.
now, and we started our polls. But let's introduce the baseball poll. We've already had our polls posted on social media.
Yes.
Start
And
with
a lot of
the
leagues are
baseball
starting
poll.
this week. I believe a lot of
Yeah.
leagues, or some leagues already started last week.
Some.
Yep. So, all right, here we go. Sarah by default, because they're still undefeated at 8-0, is number 1. Number 1.
Until someone beats Sarah.
Well, no, okay. Let's
how you
calm
started
down
the
a little
football
bit.
season,
Let's calm
too.
down a little bit, but yes.
I'm quoting you, man. Calm down a little bit. I'm taking your words.
Hey, I'm going back. Week 1 podcast. That's how
Yeah,
you started,
Exactly.
man.
That's what I'm
All
trying to
right.
get back
That's
to.
how you started it.
So, Sarah number 1, Granada at number 2, Valley Christian, who was our number 1 team last week, drops to 3 because they lost to Cardinal Newman 1-0. De La Salle at 4, Cardinal Newman at 5, Heritage at 6, Foothill at 7, Pittsburgh 8, the Lee Longhorns at 9. I know Tyler's happy about that.
Hook 'em.
Hook'em. And Auckland is at 10. And then, for the first time all season, I have like in the bubble Piedmont, Los Gatos, St. Ignatius, St. Francis, Mitty, Bellarmine, the King's Academy, Dublin, Amador Valley. All those teams in the bubble.
It's a
No,
large
Not in
bubble.
order, though.
Yeah.
Not in order.
Plus
Okay.
size bubble.
Okay.
Lee's low. I'm telling you that right. I'm biased, but I'm just telling
That's
you
all
right now,
right.
they are low.
That's all right.
Lee had a nice win against Los Gatos
They
last
did.
week.
That's why I put Lee over Los Gatos in the poll.
I don't know what the source was, but actually Lee Baseball reposts on their story of someone did a polls, power rankings of teams, and they had De La Salle 4, Lee at 5.
I think that's
forgot
the
what-
Mercury News, I believe.
I forgot who the source was.
that
but
might
I
be
saw that.
Mercury News.
So, all right, let me start off with this. I'm already asking questions, and
Go ahead.
we just introduced the poll. So, Cardinal Newman, I understand. I'm talking about the 3, 4, 5. Now, I understand De La Salle at number 4, and yes, they started off the first 2
0-2,
of the
but-
games.
yeah.
0-2. They faced St. Mary's of Stockton, who made it to the NorCal final last year in D1.
Yes.
And then they lost to Granada, who went on to win NorCal last year.
Yes.
And then obviously they beat De La Salle 6-2. So, okay, Valley Christian played Cardinal Newman on Saturday,
Yes,
right?
and they lost 1-0.
Right. So why isn't Cardinal Newman
Okay.
ahead of Valley?
Remember what I just said a few minutes ago. Yes, head-to-head is the number 1, but not the end of the world. Let me tell you why Valley is over Cardinal Newman. Cardinal Newman, I believe, lost to St. Ignatius. I may have it mixed up, but they lost to St. Ignatius and they beat Granada. So it's like, or I think they lost to Granada and beat St. Ignatius.
Okay.
It's one of those 2 things. So
Okay.
again, right? And SI beat Granada. Granada beat De La Salle.
Yeah.
Right, so here we go. Right, and SI has 2 ties, which includes Aclanes. So,
Yeah.
right, again,
A little bit of a
we
mix
can't,
up.
we can't just go, oh, just because it's head to head, Newman is over Valley Christian. I think this is Valley's first loss of the season.
That's true.
Right, and it was 1-0.
It is.
One.
Yeah.
It wasn't like 10-0 or something like that. It was
Yeah.
1-0.
Okay.
Right.
Do you not have SRV on the bubble?
No, I think SRV's had.
They
a couple of bad
graduated.
Didn't they lose to
losses.
Irvington
Yes,
earlier
they
this
did.
season?
They did lose to Irvington.
Big win for Irvington.
Well,
Yeah.
because Irvington
Wow.
started
Skull.
their guy that
Skull.
throws like 90.
Really?
That's the only reason why I believe Irvington beat San Ramon Valley.
We gotta get
Right.
some Irvington coverage this season.
Oh, okay, let's slow it down a little bit.
Well,
it is
well,
still
when they enter the Mission Valley,
well.
absolutely.
I don't. James Logan. I know Logan's got a bad record right now, but Logan is still the team to beat in that league.
Really?
They're still a team to beat.
Moreau's solid, aren't
Moreau,
they?
I think Moreau's probably like the number 2 team or something like that.
Okay,
And then you
yeah.
have Washington and
Yeah.
maybe Kennedy.
I think another team to keep an eye on, I've mentioned them before, outside of the podcast, is Woodside and Trent Amoroso. I know they graduated quite a few. They're a young team.
They lost a lot last year.
But Trent has stepped up for sure in that role. He already was a great leader as a junior last season, coming
Yes.
in the senior now. I think Woodside's still a team to keep an eye on. They're a sleeper team. I don't think they're a powerhouse team. I think they're a sleeper team that they
Yeah.
might see themselves sneaking into the
Okay.
pool at some point. I think.
Yeah, again, we're still in the early stages of the spring season, right? And this is our first poll in the podcast. So listen, a lot of things are going to change when we get to June and our last.
And they're going to have a new first baseman, right? Ryan Dodge ain't there anymore.
Correct, yeah.
Oh, he's gone.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I liked him at first base.
Dodge was
He's
a
good.
blast. Yeah, he's a big dude, tall, and
Yeah.
really just got the job done in that first base. He was
Yeah.
a steel curtain, if you
Yeah.
will.
No, yeah, brick wall at first base.
Yeah.
A scooping machine.
Scoop me.
Yeah.
Tell
Yeah.
me this: how can a guy his size be as flexible as he was? I remember. Last
Well, I
season
think a
coming
lot
down
of
the
it has to deal with footwork on how you position your foot on the
Yes.
base.
Man, the amount of times I saw him stretch out all the way, I was like, I would end up in the hospital with all kinds of tears if I stretched the way he did.
Now, is that why you were the backup quarterback at
Oh,
Lee?
come on, man.
Simply not
no. Oh, my
We're talking about a totally
goodness.
different sport here. I'm ready to move on with this conversation. Stray bullets are flying. It's crazy.
Why are you going to do Tyler like that, man?
Crazy.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm
Wow.
sorry. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Well, I don't know. He was talking about his athletic career, and I was like, backup
Oh, my
quarterback.
goodness.
That's the first thing that came
Come on,
to mind.
man.
I don't have a comeback.
All right, moving on, I guess. Moving
All right,
on.
but let me ask you this though: with baseball, to put on a serious note, which league is going to be the most entertaining league to cover in terms of a competitive standpoint, where you just never know what you're going to expect?
I'm going to say the West Catholic League again. Listen, they're always going to be one of the most competitive leagues out there. Maybe the East Bay League, the Blossom Valley Mount Hamilton division is
Oh, it's
something
gonna be
to
my
really
pick.
watch out for, right? But I think DubCal is going to be the league. I mean, they have a lot of good teams, right? St. Francis, Sarah, Bellarmine, Mitty, Valley. You cannot St. Ignatius. You can't
Sure.
sleep on Sacred Heart Cathedral, and you cannot sleep on Reardon, man. And Reardon is probably having one of their better seasons in recent memory.
Yeah,
so
they
far,
they
so
had
far.
they had themselves a day last Tuesday when they beat Cappuccino, if I
Yeah, so
recall
that's
correctly.
a pretty big win for a school that's not really known
For
for baseball. I
baseball.
mean, they haven't made the playoffs in forever,
right.
right? So for them to beat Cappuccino last week, that's pretty impressive. And Cappuccino has had really good teams in the past.
Sure.
So,
If you take it out of the DubCal, you mentioned them. I think for sure it's the Blossom Valley Mount Hamilton.
and it's always a logjam, man.
That's what I think
It's
about.
always
It
a
was last
logjam.
season. It was the season before. I mean, the Lees, the Westmonts, the Christophers.
Leland,
Willow
Leland.
Glen could
Willow
sneak
Glen,
in.
right? Pioneer,
It's
Branham.
fun. That league is a lot of fun that you have to follow closely.
Westmont was really good last year, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had a great season.
Shout
as
out
well.
to the man Tony Pianto.
We love Tony,
We
man. We
do.
love Tony.
Yeah.
We
We
love
do.
Tony. So again, right? I mean, maybe Lee's obviously the favorite in that league, right?
Yeah,
But
Drew Marino does a wonderful
But
job.
all those teams gave that Lee had a strong season last season, and the Westmont and Christopher specifically gave them a run for their money
Exactly.
every
They're
game.
all-
So I mean, that's the thing. I don't think there's one big
No,
top dog
no,
favorite. It's
no.
really anyone's league. I think
It's not
gonna
like
be anything like last year.
It's not like Valley Christian in the Dub Cal, right? I think Valley Christian is a favorite in that league.
Yeah,
but
there's no juggernaut.
right, there's no I mean, there's no real legitimate juggernaut. Oh, they're gonna run past everyone in the Man Hamilton. That's not happening this year. That's not happening this
You
year.
know, the league that I'm really looking forward to, the West Alameda County League.
That's also a fun league too, right?
That's going to be very fun. Berkeley, I think Berkeley's going to be good. They took a bit of a step back last year. I think they're going to get back to its usual form.
They're always really, really well coached.
Yeah, they are very well coached. They got a couple guys that they added to this year's roster. I believe it's Nico Taylor who is going to Cal.
Yes.
And
yes.
I think this was a kid that he started out playing ball at De Anza for quite some time, and I believe, if I recall correctly, he was locked in on Cal ever since his freshman year, if I recall correctly. Just want to double check and confirm that, but I knew he was a talented freshman, and I've seen him play at De Anza before, and he was solid.
Yeah.
So Berkeley's going to have him in the mix. Berkeley's going to be good. And obviously with Piedmont. Piedmont had a sensational season. They went on to make a deep run in NorCals. Remember that? They competed in the Division 3 NorCal final, if I recall correctly. It was either Division 3 or Division 4. Piedmont's going to be a team to watch out for. They lost Peter Krumans, but they still have Marcos Lagios.
Yeah.
I believe he's back, and he is a senior. So look for Piedmont to utilize him either in the outfield or
pitching.
Or no, catching.
Oh, catching. Okay.
Catching. Yep. So
well, don't forget Bishop O'Dowd too. Bishop O'Dowd.
Oh, Dowd's got a team.
O'Dowd's got that third baseman. I believe he's going to Stanford. Rashad Hayes, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Alameda. You cannot sleep on Alameda either, right? Alameda always.
If you're working up that
delivers
East
good
Bay,
teams.
another team I remember that was good last season. I'd have to look into what their roster looks like now, but it's Benicia. That was another team that had a solid
goodness.
season.
Oh, in the
The
Diablo.
Diablo is
Yeah.
Another crazy
Acalanes, Clayton Valley, College Park, Benicia.
Right.
That's a fun team too, man.
Yeah,
That's
College
a fun
Park
team
was
too.
good last year. College Park surprised a lot of people, including myself.
Yeah, I'll tell you, this is gonna be a fun ride, and we're already seeing it in the polls, man. Everyone's beating everyone. It's gonna be one of those years again.
Yeah.
Love it. Can't wait.
Yeah. Yep. And all right, let's make our way to softball.
Softball. All right.
So, softball. So, they were a powerhouse last year.
We had a bit of a debate with this team.
Well, towards the end of the season.
Yeah, but
towards the end of the season. But I mean, without question, St. Francis
St.
is the
Francis
number one
is
team.
the number one team.
Right.
Willow Glen number 2, Bishop O'Dowd number 3, Alameda number 4, Mills. That's right, I said it correctly. The Mills Vikings at number 5.
Skull.
Midi number 6, San Ramon Valley 7, Clayton Valley 8, Amador Valley 9, Liberty 10. In the bubble, Valley Christian, St. Ignatius was undefeated. Foothill, Granada, Hollister, Archie Williams.
Wow.
Archie.
Hollister in the bubble?
Hollister in the bubble.
Really?
Yeah. Put him Hollister.
Foothill in the bubble.
Foothill in the bubble. Listen, just like baseball, right? I think, was it SRV who was our number 3 team last week, right? They beat Liberty in 9 innings. Then they go on to lose to Carondelet in league. So, here we go. And I think, what was it? Benicia. I'll put Benicia in the poll or in the bubble as well, right? Clayton Valley, I think, beat Amador Valley, and Amador Valley beat someone, right? So everyone's beating everyone. But the big one though, is Mills beating Midi. When's that? Wow, that's like Piedmont girls basketball beating Midi girls basketball a couple years ago.
Yeah.
That's a big win for Mills.
I think Liberty's going to be a dark horse this season. And I understand they do compete in the Bay Valley League.
Yeah.
I do understand that. But I think they're going to be put in a good position to make a run for a D1 title for the NCS.
They may be in the open.
The NCS doesn't have an open for softball.
Did they not?
It's
Oh,
just
did they
Division
not?
1.
Was it just Division 1?
Yeah, it was just Division 1.
We may have to check up on that because I know they
Last
do
year
the
they
Max
had
Sports
last year
rankings
they
now.
had D1. There was no such
Okay.
thing as an open.
Okay.
In the CCS, they have an
They do have an
open
open, okay.
for softball, just softball. Baseball doesn't have an open.
No, that's
NCS doesn't have an open for
okay.
baseball.
But I know they do the max preps rankings.
They
now.
do,
Right,
correct.
so-
Liberty's going to be a dark horse this year for softball.
Yeah,
They're good. They're going
load
to be
up.
fine. And yes, they compete in the Bay Valley, but I think they're going to have a great non-league schedule where they're going to have opportunities to beat some of these high-caliber teams. And I think they're going to have that golden opportunity when they compete in the Livermore Stampede.
That's coming up like in a couple weeks.
It's a fun one. That's always great.
Yeah.
It's coming up in a.
They didn't have it last year.
Well, because it got rained out.
Yeah,
and
that
they
was
Kind
unfortunate.
of had like a mini Livermore Stampede with
Last minute too.
Yeah.
last
Amador
minute with, like,
Valley,
Livermore, St. Francis and Mitty.
That's
right.
right.
It's whoever was
So-
ready to show up last minute,
Yeah.
basically.
So
was
again,
available.
let's hope it doesn't get rained out this year. But Liberty always had. Well, they have a good non-league schedule this year, and I've said this too. Do not let the record fool you. Right? Team
Right.
can be 17-0, but who they play? If they're playing the Yerba Buenas of the world like 17 times, well, no disrespect to Yerba Buena, but they're not really a legitimate baseball or softball team. So again, do not let the record fool you. Right? The team can be 17-10, but if they played really good non-league teams, that's a respectable record.
Don't sleep on Cal softball.
Oh, I should put them in the. All right, they're in the bubble. They're in the bubble.
You can
California.
You can make a
California in the
case
bubble.
for Cal, and what they did 2 years ago. Keep in mind, it was a marvelous run for them.
Yeah.
I
Didn't they win
mean,
D1 a couple years
they
ago?
ended up winning the D1 title over SRV. They played in Moraga at St. Mary's College. I remember covering that game, and they poured it on. But they did lose Caitlin Lee from last year. Their pitching, I believe, if I recall correctly. But I think Cal's going to be very good, and everyone's going to sleep on them. Jada Crosby had an outstanding season. Man, when she puts bat to ball, it's goodbye softball.
Well,
It's
that's
crazy.
really good. That's good.
It's crazy. And then Haley King, UC Riverside commit. By the way, Crosby's going to Fresno State. Haley King is another outstanding hitter. She's going to UC Riverside. I mean, I'm telling you, I think Cal has a good, legitimate shot to be a sleeper. And then I can see them be placed in an NCS bracket where they have some favorable matchups go their way. And I'm going to tell you, I think they can make a run.
I'm putting Livermore in this bubble too. I'm sorry. I know.
Well, that's the thing. Talking about the bubble, not
Right,
changing,
but
adding
the East
teams.
Bay League overall is very competitive, right?
Right.
Yeah.
You look at like Foothill,
yeah.
Amador Valley, Granada, Livermore.
Oh, yeah,
California,
Livermore.
right?
Livermore's
Right?
not even on this poll.
No, I'm putting them in the bubble. Putting them in the
Yeah.
bubble. Livermore and hey, maybe Carondelet. I mean, they beat San Ramon Valley,
Yeah.
right? I put Carondelet for now. I mean, again, we're just starting.
What about Benicia, though?
Benicia's? I gotta put Benicia in this bubble too.
Well, I was gonna say, I'm thinking about 3 teams that stood out to me last season that I think are honorable mentions for the bubble. At least are one Benicia,
Yeah.
Los Gatos,
They'll be in the Stampede.
Los Gatos, yeah.
and
Yeah.
Salesian.
Oh, and Norquist.
Salesian softball.
Yeah. They stood out to me last season. Again, I would have to look to see what they're looking like this season and
thing
how many
with-
seniors they
Low
graduated. but-
division, you got to keep in
low
mind.
division
Sure.
though. I mean,
And their main competitors, Pinole Valley.
I mean, their league is. I mean, they don't really compare to the East Bay League, but they're good. They're a good offensive team.
They can hit.
So
They can hit.
And again, this is just me saying teams that stood out to me last season.
Yeah.
I'm not saying outright that they should be on the poll or anything like that. These are just teams that stood out to me.
okay, yeah. So again,
fun.
still early.
Yep.
Still early, right? Livermore Stampede's coming up in a couple weeks. A lot of good teams in that.
You'll expect Granada. You'll expect St. Francis. Obviously,
Mitty.
Livermore because they're hosting it, right? right. Come
hope
on.
so.
I hope so. Cal, Benicia,
I think Whitney from the Saco-Keen is in
Sheldon, probably.
Sheldon, I believe, is in that as well.
Yeah.
We got to take a look at this.
Oh, and then
schedule,
for
yeah.
baseball, we're going to have the Bores, correct?
Oh, my God. I wish we can cover that.
You know,
Like
we
De La
could.
Salle.
We can make the special request to Robert.
Yeah, we'll make. But De La Salle, Mitty, I think, is in that Sarah. I mean, it's really loaded. This
Isn't
year.
Bellarmine in that?
I think Bellarmine is in that as well. I'm not sure. I don't think Granada's in that. But De La Salle being in the Boraz Classic, that's huge. And I think Valley Christian might be in that as well. I think I have to double check. But
I remember 2 years ago they weren't. They went out of state that week.
Yeah.
Or they were down in SoCal.
Yeah. Yeah, I know Granada's playing like an
Yeah.
out of state tournament.
Yep.
That's pretty good.
I think the
so.
best part with baseball, softball is a sign of warmer weather coming.
Yep.
Sunshine.
How
I know
about lacrosse?
we got a lacrosse too. I mean, all of
And
it.
boys
Just
volleyball.
Spring sports in general. It's
Boys
just,
volleyball, stunt. We'll be covering stunt.
We are covering
Cheer.
stunt this week.
I
this
saw
week.
that.
So,
Yep.
I think that's a first for Cal High. I'm not sure.
Hey, there's a first for everything, right?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I
All
can't
right.
wait, man. Let's hope it doesn't rain as hard this week.
Yeah, no.
It's supposed to
I'm sick and tired of the rain.
Yep. We'll,
Bring the sunshine.
You
that's
know-
all. I think an 80-degree day is coming next week.
All
You
right.
tell me I can wear my shorts to shooting games again? Is that what you're telling me?
Are those calves ready? You've been working
My
on
calves,
them in the,
well, I don't know about
in the
working
winter?
out. I mean,
You don't
my
want to
calves
see
are.
you don't want to see Robert in shorts, that's for sure.
Oh boy.
All right. Another
No.
straight bullet. Crazy.
No, he just yeah no. I don't know why I said that.
That's the guy that signs your checks, man.
Well,
Whatever
well,
you
no, I
wanna-
mean, no, but he would say like, he would say,
Yeah,
you know,
he would say this.
his legs would blind the pitcher if he's shooting behind the plate. 'Cause it's
Love
like,
it.
He would always say that year after year after year, and he's like, "I hope it's 90 degrees. Oh boy, I'm scared for the pitcher." He would say that.
Yeah, no, that's true. He would say that.
Yeah.
He would say that in the office. But
Love it.
man, I can't wait. We can't wait. Man, this is gonna be a sprint to the finish for spring, man. Before you know it's playoffs.
Yep.
Crazy. This is insane.
All right, sounds good. That's all I got. That's all you guys got.
all I got.
I think
All
so,
right.
man.
All right, I think it's safe to say you've been covered. See you next week.